Guys, welcome. Crawford versus Canelo. Is it really dead? Or is that just a terrible rumor? Guys, we're going to talk about all of this and more on the latest edition of War a Week Boxing Chat. Holdings proudly presents War Week Radio with 5-decade fight trainer, Coach James Gogi. Guys, welcome. And I apologize, I hit the wrong theme music. That was announcing the show with James Gogi. And obviously, guys, he only makes an appearance most of the time on Saturday, or a Sunday rather, after a big fight weekend. But guys, we're going to talk about tonight, and obviously all of the buzz is about Canelo versus Jake Paul, and basically, is it a coincidence that they're announcing that Bud versus Canelo is dead in the water now? Is that a coincidence? Is that by design? Is it really dead? We'll see, guys. And we're going to talk about all of that and more. And guys, and once again, this is War Week Boxing Chats, right? So guys, if you have your headphones, or if you just want to join us on your phone, click the link, guys. Chop it up with me. And I tell you what. Hey, Pincha, chop it up with me, man. Come on board, dude. I want to hear stuff. I also want to talk to you, man, about a couple things. And yes, tomorrow I'm moving over some money to my Cash App, so I will send and appease your payment request for $20 tomorrow. A deal's a deal, and a bet is a bet. And there it is. Even though technically you didn't get it right, you said that it was Benavidez for sure, late round stoppage. That's not what happened, but hey, I agreed to it, and a bet is a bet. So I will take care of it. Just do me a favor next time, Brandon. Don't send more than one request. 3 is a little much, my friend, but hey, it's all good, Peach. Love you, brother. Also, Outlaw, good to see you, my friend. And also T. Sanders, I hope it's not dead. Well, I'm going to talk about why I don't think it truly is. And I'll tell you what I've been told, right, from several people. Canelo moving just like Floyd did in his late career. Look, yeah. Actually, that's not giving Floyd enough credit. Because aside from that last fight, those last 2 fights, one with Berto and one with McGregor, he was still fighting legitimate contenders and former champions or existing title holders, right? Canelo, man, he's just fighting whomever can actually sell some pay-per-views. Because let's just face it, guys. Berlanga, did he deserve a shot before anyone else? Before Benavidez? Before Morrell? No, he didn't. But he's got a nice little following on the East Coast, and it was a sellable pay-per-view fight, and it did very well. Same thing with Jaime Munguia. So But now he finds himself to be in a somewhat of a dilemma. And we pointed this out several months ago. Who's going to fight at 168? Because you know damn well he's not moving up to 175 ever again. We already know this to be true, guys. And if you think and are holding out for a Benavidez fight or one with the winner of Beterbiev or Bivol, well, there's going to be a cold day in hell before that actually happens. That's not going to happen, guys. That's just the reality of things. So this is why he was entertaining the idea of fighting Terrence Crawford. And there seems to be an ongoing dispute online on social media. And once again, guys, I'm not really on social media very much anymore except X. And even then, that's sporadic for the obvious reasons. It's a waste of time, and my time is precious. I'd rather spend my time when I'm not working with you fine people, my extended family on Warwick Boxing. So who's to blame for this? Guys, once again, it was revealed by Ring TV. The Ring broke the news on X about Canelo Crawford fight being off. No reasons were given at this time, except our brother Rick Glazier, right? And this is what he had to say. Let's do this properly, right, guys? Let's do this properly.
Maybe, just maybe, it's time for Rick Glazier's Twitter watch. Bang!
Yeah. Thank you, Teddy. So this is what Rick had to say on X or Twitter. And he said this. There's boxing. This was 8 hours ago, right? There's boxing social media rumors that are totally false, saying Terrence Crawford is the one that pulled out of a potential Canelo fight. Crawford didn't pull out. Warriors want fights to happen, not look for a reason not to make the fight happen. And Terrence Crawford is a real warrior. Rick, look, and guys, I'm the first person to stand up and vouch for my brother Rick. He is a real boxing lifer, and he's a brilliant guy, and I have the utmost respect for Rick. But in this scenario, as several different scenarios, he is compromised because he is, the way I understand it, he currently has a working relationship with one of the attorneys that is currently representing Terrence Crawford in this deal. So take that for what it's worth. Take it with a grain of salt. But I'm not saying that he's not customarily reliable, because he is. And once again, we usually have a weekly show with Rick Glazier for that reason. In fact, we just had one in on Monday. And I love Rick. He's my brother. But in this scenario, he is compromised. Right? So who's to blame? Now, once again, he is right on the money when he says this. I'm going to read this again. That Crawford didn't pull out. No, he didn't pull out. Just like he didn't pull out when he was being a massive pain in the ass with Errol Spence Jr., Al Heyman, and everyone at PBC and Showtime several years ago. You remember that belabored negotiation that took longer than a year and a half? Right? Well, according to Steven Espinoza and a lot of people involved, Chris de Blasio, a lot of people on who was knowledgeable of that negotiation when it was ongoing, they said Terrence Bud Crawford was an absolute train wreck and a nightmare to negotiate with. And this is what you get when you pay someone inflated purses. Now, keep in mind, this is the reason why Top Rank wasn't interested in re-signing Bud after giving him that extension. And Bob Arum was public about it, saying, "Hey, look, guys, I've lost so much money, millions on Bud Crawford. I could have bought a nice house in Beverly Hills, a nice one with the amount of money that we've lost on Bud Crawford." And once again, guys, the history of Bud Crawford tells us. And once again, guys, I will think twice about it if anyone can give me a network that actually made money from a Bud Crawford pay-per-view event and promotion. And if you say Errol Spence, nope, didn't make money, broke even, but it did make money. In fact, it lost. So give me a network and a promoter that's actually made money from Bud Crawford. Not Turkey LLC. He lost almost $20 million last year in his only event. This is why, guys, no promoters currently want to work with him. He's a delusional pain in the ass who thinks he's worth a lot more than he is. And this is what happens when you pay out inflated purses. Think about this, guys, logically. And this is why we told you guys this on this channel. That I'm like, look, I'll be very surprised if this fight actually is signed, sealed, and delivered. And if it comes to fruition, because everything I know about Bud Crawford points to the direction that he is a pain in the ass to negotiate with. Completely delusional and just has no sense of realistic market value. Now think about this, guys. He negotiated a fight purse against Madrimov last year in which he was paid over $17 million for that snoozer. And if he was paid $17 million, if he was paid over $17 million for that thing, how much do you think he's requesting or demanding against Canelo Alvarez? I'll wait. Put in your figures. What do you guys think? It's not 17. I guarantee it's not even 25. This is a guy who thinks he's actually equal sledding. Oh, we're two of the best pound-for-pound fighters in boxing. It doesn't work like that, though, Terrence. What you do in the ring doesn't equate necessarily to your realistic market value. Noah Inoue is a rock star in Japan. Where are you actually a draw outside of Omaha, Nebraska? His pay-per-view with Sean Porter at the Mandalay Bay lost top-ranked money. Hi, V. Welcome to the show, sir. And he says, after Terrence left Top Rank, Arum stated that he wanted to work with Terrence. No, he said he'd be willing to work with Terrence in the future. That's a far cry from saying that he wanted to. Why would he want to do that if he weren't even realistically willing to sign him again? And at that point, why would he want to work with a guy who sued him for being a racist? And that lawsuit was thrown out, guys. Why would he want to do that? Tyrese. Chingao. Hold on. Hey, Joseph. Mike Cappinger. Hey, good to see you, my friend. Just reported that Turkey is the one who suspended efforts to finalize a contract for Canelo versus Crawford. In a roundabout way, he says it's because Canelo is taking the Jake fight. That's why I'm saying I'm not sure this is dead, guys. With that said, yeah, this is not exactly close to being signed either. In my opinion, if they are making a deal with Netflix, this is what I've been told by several knowledgeable people with this agreement or with this promotion, with this deal. that Netflix does not want another fight being announced when they're trying to promote Jake Paul versus Terrence Crawford. Or, I mean, when they're trying to promote Jake Paul versus Canelo Alvarez. And so, in my opinion, I don't think this is dead. In my opinion, they have suspended this negotiation because they're going to go through with Jake Paul versus Canelo Alvarez on Netflix, with MVP Promotions and Canelo Alvarez Promotions being the two lead promoters, with PBC being another promotional entity as event organizer with MVP. And I'll just say this, guys. If that fight comes to fruition and it has the kind of audience that I think it will, between 60 and 80 million viewers worldwide, if it's a huge hit, then Canelo definitely doesn't want to finalize a deal until they've cha-chinged and tabulated all of those figures. He'll bring a lot more to the negotiating table. And once again, guys, keep in mind, Canelo right now has the Floyd Mayweather deal with PBC. And that's not going to sit well with Terrence Bud Crawford, who thinks he's coming to the table as an equal partner. And right now, once again, when I say the Floyd Mayweather deal, it's an 80% deal. And that means the parking, the concessions, the food, the drinks, the merch. He gets 80% of everything. So if you expect Canelo to concede and walk away from that deal, well, you better bring something else to the table or just be willing to take whatever Canelo or Turkey gives you. That's why I'm saying, even though I don't think this is dead in the water, I think they've suspended negotiations because Netflix does not want another fight announced when they're trying to promote this. And this is what I've heard from numerous people. And I believe it. And this right here just supports and is a confirmation from what I've heard. So I don't think it's dead, but I genuinely, if you had to ask me and point a gun to my head, do I think this makes it cross the finish line? No, I don't. Because I don't have any confidence in Terrence Crawford being reasonable and rational and understanding that he is not on an equal playing field with Canelo Alvarez, who is by far the bigger attraction. It's not even close, guys. And who is a notorious pain in the ass to negotiate with. And I know this for a fact, guys. Everyone. Like, once again, guys, give me one promoter who's willing to work with him outside of Turkey Al Sheikh. I'll wait. Give me a network who wants to work with him. Pay that steep licensing fee when he's not a major draw. He's not a mainstream draw, guys. Now, paired with Canelo Alvarez, yeah, that fight would sell. But if you expect to make anything close to 50% and not grant Canelo Alvarez that same deal that he has with PBC, then you know what? Canelo doesn't need Crawford to make money. Let's just be clear on that. In what universe does Canelo need Crawford? But you could say that Crawford definitely needs Canelo. With the kind of money that he's looking for, what other matchup is going to produce the kind of purse that Crawford is looking for and has come to expect with these inflated purses? Guys, Canelo's his only option. And I don't think he's willing to get, he's delusional, and he always has. Do you remember that live Instagram broadcast that he had when negotiations supposedly came to a standstill and an impasse with Errol Spence Jr., trying to make the claim that he wasn't the one who was at fault? Brother, everyone who was a part of that negotiation, including Chris de Blasio, including Errol Spence, including Al Heyman, including Steven Espinoza, all stated that he was a royal pain in the ass, starting negotiations with Errol Spence at 22 million Rock when his highest payday to date before that was only $6 million, and that was with Sean Porter, which lost money for ESPN. And he starts negotiations with 22 million. That's what you call, guys, a delusional diva. And honestly, that's why no one is interested in working with him at this time. Not even Eddie Hearn. You remember when he said, well, you know what? I respect everything that Terrence Crawford's actually done in the ring. And we wouldn't want to insult him because he's looking for an awful lot of money. Not even Eddie Hearn, who pays out inflated purses customarily, is interested in working with him. Hold on. Yadir, welcome to the show, sir. Yadir Sanchez, welcome to the show, sir. Good to see you. Well, he can draw more if he fights a scrub 168-pound fighter and whoop that guy. Well, look, the most important part of that equation that you brought up, that scenario, is that they're willing to just take a flat fee of $5 or $6 million and give Canelo everything else. Crawford isn't willing to do that. He thinks he deserves more. And why? I have no effing clue. Because what else does he bring to the table? Nothing. Give me another event where he's made a promoter or network money. And I'm going all the way back to HBO. Did Victor Postal make money? What other pay-per-views? Come on, show me. Sean Porter, did that make any money? No, he's delusional, guys. This is why his options have run dry. This is Canelo's like, you know what? I'm going and negotiating and working with someone who actually brings something to the table. Think about what a huge hit this is going to be. And on Netflix, no less. I can guarantee you they are willing to pay out at least $100 million for this event. And they're going to get a knockout. And they're not going to get an embarrassing product like Mike Tyson. Can't pull the trigger, can't cut off the ring, can't let his hands go. Old Man River. This is going to be a massive event, guys. Keep in mind, Jake Paul has 21 million subscribers on YouTube and almost 29 million Instagram followers. Compare that to Terrence Crawford, who's a royal pain in the ass and doesn't even have a fraction of that. Oh, boy. Jump Tube, come on, man. Shout out to my brother, Jump Tube and Montequilla, Adam Lopez. I love that, man. Hold on. According to Crawford tweets, he's made money from his fights. Well, he has. He always makes money, makes out like a bandit. But you cannot say the same for the benefactors who put up these purses. Give me one who's made money, and you can't say Turkey Al-Sheikh. He lost almost 20 million on that extravagant promotion. Not even Eminem could salvage that promotion. Sorry, guys. That's the reality. And so Rick, in a roundabout sort of way, is right when he says, oh, it's not Crawford that pulled out. Well, no. But he's going to put Canelo in a position where he's going to be forced to pull out. And why? Because Canelo doesn't need Crawford. He doesn't need anything like that. And when push comes to shove, do you really want, if you're Canelo Alvarez, to deal with a diva pain in the ass who's delusional and has no concept of his realistic market value? Once again, guys, look at the history. Look at the history. Lance Meyer, good to see you, my friend. Thank you for joining us. Don't be sad, my brother. Look, this is going to be a massive hit. And it's going to serve as salve for some of the wounds that Mike Tyson, Jake Paul left in the minds of most casual and mainstream fans who felt slighted, like they felt ripped off, even though they didn't have to pay for it. Guys, you're going to see Jake Paul get knocked the F out. And it'll be, to them, it'll be like the purging of everything. Wow, the villain finally got his comeuppance. Canelo is going to knock him out with a body shot within 2 rounds. Guaranteed. And the only reason why I didn't say 1 is that, yeah, he might carry him for at least a round while he's trying to find range and closing the distance. But I can see him easily stopping Canelo. Stopping Jake Paul with a body shot to the liver. Because he is so crafty. And he's the most creative combination puncher in boxing. Jake Paul's never experienced anything like it. Not in sparring, not ever. Not anywhere else. And he's going to have a terrible time trying to anticipate where Canelo's punches are going to be coming from. So, guys, brace yourselves, but it's coming. And more than likely, it's going to be on Netflix. Hey, good to see you, Vaughn. Thank you for being here, my friend. And look, if you're Mick Smith, just admit it. Just say so, and I'll let you on. Because I'm going to drop the link again. Guys, join me if you have your headphones on. But thank you for reporting that, my friend. It's good to see you, brother. It just confirms everything that I was told as well. And that's why I titled this podcast, Is Bud vs. Canelo Really Dead? No. Their negotiations have just been suspended because Netflix, they're going to be real sticklers in, well, they don't want to promote a fight when Canelo has one already lined up in September. They think that's going to take away from the drama and the marketing. Right? Tyrese asks a very good question. What weight Canelo versus Paul, and does he come back to 168? Of course he's going to come back to 168. And does it even matter what weight this is going to be? Obviously, this is going to take place probably in the cruiserweight division. Right? Jake Paul was merely a biscuit over the cruiserweight limit. And so I can see this easily taking place at the cruiserweight limit. And against Jake Paul, he's willing to do that all day long. And he doesn't have to kill himself to make the limit. And he's going to make probably a career high payday for this. Where do I sign? Canelo, this is a no-brainer for him. He's going to be working with arguably the best, forgive me for saying this, guys, but the best current promoter in the United States. Look at the results, guys. Okay, here it is. What's the point of bringing on PBC as a part of the promotion? That is an excellent question, man. They bring nothing to the plate. Well, apparently, according to Canelo Alvarez and Eddie Reynoso, they love doing business with PBC. They are the architects of, once again, that Floyd deal. And they're going to try to get the best deal possible with Al Heyman doing the negotiating for him as well as Eddie Reynoso. And that's the only way this fight gets made. And why? Because Canelo has it made with PBC. They're giving him the house. And he doesn't need anyone else to make money. He's got the leverage here, guys. Jake Paul, where does he go from that Tyson event? Who's he going to fight that is even going to come close to selling out an arena? Is he going to fight another MMA guy? No, this is it. Canelo has so many more options that can at least sell pay-per-views. And once again, guys, he gets 80% of everything. Your birunguitas at the event, your cotton candy, your peanuts, your merch, even the parking. He gets 80% of everything. So that's why he wants PBC to be a part of this event as at least an advisor and an event organizer. But it's not going to be. It's not going to be on. And look, if they can't work out a favorable deal with Netflix, it'll at least be on Amazon Prime because of the PBC existing deal. And that's going to be the last event, from what I've been told. Keep them coming, my friend. It's good to see you. Says, has Canelo taken over the PBC? Are fighters getting ready to thank him? They might as well. If PBC does stay in business, it'll be because of Canelo. No one else. No thanks to Tank Davis, who's from Lamont Roach. That event is almost guaranteed to lose money. And guys, I'm trying to work on the final tabulations, and I should have it by Monday. The pay-per-view numbers for Benavidez versus Morrell. And let me just say that I've heard a bunch of posers try to put out numbers like it did really well. 500,000. No, it didn't. That's fantasy land. Eric Gomez, good to see you, my friend. Thank you for being here, brother. Yep, Canelo. He's the one who's holding the cards. And let me tell you, if he does strike a deal with Jake Paul on Netflix and knocks his ass out like we all know that he will, guys, he is going to reach superstar status. He's going to reach Oscar De La Hoya, Floyd Mayweather Jr. status. And he may be the savior for boxing in the American market after that. Because let's just face it, everyone is going to be dancing in the streets when they see Jake Paul and Canelo knock his dick in the dirt. I love that. That's so funny. No, Michael Caine is... yeah, this is Michael Caine. It sounds nothing like Eddie Hearn. You weren't supposed to blow the bloody doors off. That's Michael Caine, dude. And yes, Yadir, Crawford's ego is killing him, crushing his career. And honestly, if he doesn't concede and give Canelo everything that he's asking for, he might as well retire because there's no one else who wants to work with him and no one else that he could possibly be paired up with that's going to bring him that kind of payday. Who else? Yep. That's it, man. That's it. Darnell Lee, welcome to the show, sir. So Top Rank overpaid him, and it's his fault for his ego. Yep. Just say you paint want him to fight Canelo? I'm sorry. Do you think I'm just being a hater when I'm just spitting facts? Tell me what I said. Tell me one thing that I stated that was incorrect. Oh, and he continues. Yes. He knows Canelo's that. No, he doesn't. He doesn't. He doesn't know that. He thinks he's on equal sledding. And everyone knows this. Yep. That's it. 200 pounds. What is 200 pounds? That's the cruiserweight limit. I just told you that. Oh boy. Boots versus Bud. Oh my gosh, dude. That's going to lose his ass money. But once again, Turkey Al Sheikh doesn't seem very interested in actually making a profit at this time. And guys, it's my pleasure to introduce at this time my nephew, Tony Manzano. Tony, what say you about all of this? And once again, I'm going to step away.
I don't trust anything Coppinger says. He's a snake.
Yeah. Oh, you mean Mike Cappinger? Well, look, so far, everything this is just confirmation with everything that I heard before I went live. But hey, I'm going to step away real quick. I'm going to get another water. But as you were, Tony, floor is yours, my friend.
Yeah, and when it comes to Bud and Canelo, realistically, I don't think that's a smart move for Bud. He's way too Canelo. If it's true that Canelo's walking around at cruiserweight, he's gonna be way too big for Bud. I like Bud, but that's not a smart move for him in the long run, health-wise, because Canelo's a way bigger guy. No, I don't think either guy can. I don't think either guy can, Jose, because Canelo's a naturally bigger guy, even though his height, naturally, I think Canelo's just a naturally, I'm not saying fat, but he's a naturally bigger guy weight-wise. Because I think throughout his career, I think Canelo had been walking around at cruiserweight his whole career. It's just that as you get older, it's harder to keep that weight off. Do you agree, Joe? Even as a fighter, an elite athlete like Canelo is?
Well, look, when you start getting up there in age, yeah, it gets harder and harder and harder. And once again, his prime weight, he's stated this for the past 5 years, that he's not willing to go and fight under the 68-pound weight division ever again.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I think Canelo in general is a naturally bigger guy. I think throughout his career, he's been walking around. I'm not saying he's fat or anything, but I think he's been walking around at 200 pounds his whole career.
Yeah, well, I'll tell you what, my apologies, guys, that I left my phone here when I had to step away from the computer. And that was my brother, Double T, who just did a press conference. Just did a press conference in England for Chisora versus Wallin.
Yeah, and like I said, I've been saying this. It's a mistake. I understand he wants the money, but it's a mistake health-wise for Bud to go up and face a way bigger guy, a guy who's going to be walking 20, even on fight night. I think Canelo's going to be walking in 20 pounds above, 20 pounds above his natural.
Well, look, guys, look. Consider who he's. Terrence Crawford. What choice does he have?
He has no choice.
He has no choice. Once again,
even though
man,
it's not going to be smart for him
he's
health-wise.
Going to try to make Terrence Crawford and Boots Ennis, and that's logical. That makes sense. But guys, once again, he's got to get past Amantis Stanionis first.
Honestly, I've been saying I think Amantis wins that fight. With the lack of,
I tell you what, it's going to be a difficult fight. It's going to be the toughest fight of Boots Ennis' career by far up to this point.
Do you think if he loses this fight, he goes up to one, not loses this fight, but let's say he wins it in a close fight and realizes he's struggling, Boots specifically is struggling to, he looks tired throughout the fight. Do you think that pushes him to move up to 154 permanently?
Look,
and
Boots Ennis is already having trouble making 47. He
Boots?
stated as much in his last effort against Karen Chikatsian.
Oh, Chikazian?
Yep.
Yeah,
So,
no,
and
and
look, he's always been a big welterweight. And so it's
no,
only a matter of time before he can't make that weight division any longer. He's not getting any younger.
and Joe, this is an honest question. I've noticed like American fighters in general are more, they look more bulkier compared to the European fighters and stuff like that. They're the the European fighters seem more slender and skinny.
Well, dude, I don't know about any of that. All I can say is this. It's going to be a tough fight. And honestly, Boots Ennis would be wise not to negotiate anything until after April 12th. We'll see where he goes from there. But that's a great fight, man. And honestly, in my opinion, if you have to give Boots the favorite, it's not by much. I say it's a 55-45 fight. And Montestanione is the only thing that really deters from his chances.
Defense.
Being victorious, no. He's got a great defense. Once again, what's your first line of defense? Tony?
Offense.
It's his jab.
Yeah.
That's always your first line of defense. And he's got a much better jab than Boots Ennis.
No, but what I mean by defense is,
which isn't saying much. Hold on real quick. So Jose Barrera, welcome to the show, sir. He says, do you think Canelo can go up and down and wait and be good? Brother, against Jake Paul, he could come into the ring with a Sunday morning hangover and still knock his ass out in the next week.
the only reason why he lost it against Mike Tyson is because Mike was playing with his food. Mike could have just knocked his ass out.
Dude, no. Look, this is what people like. Honestly, dude, I can't believe so many people fell for the idea that Mike Tyson was going to be competitive in this and that Mike Tyson actually had a chance. He had no chance. None. Hold on. Thank you for clarifying this, Jose. He said, I meant if he will be good when he goes back down to 168, brother. That remains to be seen. That's a very good point. And I don't even know. He might make enough in this fight where he might elect to hang it up.
Yeah, to me, Canelo, I've been saying Canelo doesn't need to prove anything to anybody anymore. But I think
he's a first ballot Hall of Famer. He's a 4-division world champion. And you once again, guys, look around you. He's on his victory lap.
Yeah.
Well, hold on real quick. No one was forcing them to work with Crawford. That's right. No one. And once again, oh, wait a minute. What were you talking about, Kevin? You talking about anyone in the past? That's right. And do you see anyone willing to work with him at this time outside of Turki Al-Sheikh and Canelo?
No.
No, you don't.
His former promoter hates him.
Wait a minute. So I'm not knocking you, but they keep paying him. I'm sorry. Who keeps paying him? No one's paying him right now. In fact, if you ask any major promoter, they're not interested. So who's continuing to pay him?
Maybe he's thinking BLK Prime is still paying him.
Brother, BLK Prime didn't even pay him the money that they negotiated. They only paid him $4 million after negotiating a $10 million purse. But they lost so much money, they're like, here, dude, we're not paying you anymore. Not interested in any future events either. Thanks, but no thanks, Terrence. Now, once again, I'm going to ask you, Kevin, give me a promoter or network that he's actually made money for. I'll wait.
Hey, Joe, I have an honest question for you.
If you want to talk about this, hey, brother, put up or shut up. Come on now. Come on, Kevin. I won't bite, man. Come on. We won't talk about politics. And even back then, it wasn't even political. It was good versus evil. And look, judging by everything that's being uncovered post-election, since Trump's inauguration, I feel vindicated. Yes, I said it. I can't believe there are people that believe Mike Tyson got paid to look. Yeah, it's shocking, isn't it? But once again, what do you expect from mainstream and casuals? They wouldn't.
I'm a fan, and honestly,
Hold on, Tony. They wouldn't know a fish hook from a left hook, brother. I'm sorry, as you were, Tony.
yeah, but Joe, for me, I was one of the few people as a hardcore fan that, because of Mike Tyson's experience as a boxer, I thought he would have knocked it. No matter how young, Jake barely has any experience in the sport, so that's why I thought that's why I had faith in Tyson. Maybe it was just me being a fan of Mike, like my heart being behind Mike, that I had way too much belief in him. That's why, you think?
You was a sentimental favorite, and everyone wanted to believe that maybe, just in the immortal words of Teddy Atlas, maybe, just maybe, he's got one more championship performance left in him. Bang! But no, he didn't. Everyone knew. Everyone in this business knew it was going to be a horror show, and it wasn't going to be competitive.
But Jake had
No. Jake carried him. That's the only reason why he finished the fight. After round 4, he was peanuts. He was a pigeon. Jake Paul could have knocked his ass out, and he carried him, dude.
So you think it was the other way around? Jake was playing.
Doctor, be respectful, man. He's not eating, so stop it. If you're not going to behave, man, I'm going to send you packing. Maybe around, maybe.
No, Jose, I thought the same thing. I thought the same thing when I saw the fight. I'm like, I rewatched that fight. I'm like, rewatching it, looking at it, Joe. I thought I agree with you. I think Jake was the one carrying the fight the rest of the way.
Jake carried him for the duration,
and he was playing with the. You think Jake was the one
round 3 or 4?
So you think Jake was the one playing with his food?
Yep, and he only because he could. It was obvious. If you know what you're looking at in the ring, it was obvious. He carried him. He carried the old man.
You think it's too late for Jake to permanently move towards being a permanent boxer? He's too
Dude, I hate to say this. I hate to break this to you, but he is a permanent boxer.
No, where he can actually compete for championships.
Tony, I'm going to explain this to you. Here, let me talk to you. Here's the problem, though. Just kind of like the problem that Devin Haney and Ryan Garcia are in. Well, they've grown accustomed to making X amount of dollars. So they've got to find matchups that are going to generate similar income.
How about Jake versus Ryan?
Jake Paul going to fight that's going to generate that kind of buzz and that kind of money outside of Canelo Alvarez?
How about him versus Ryan?
Ryan's not big enough, but Ryan would knock his fucking ass out.
Or Terrence Crawford.
And you might see that in the future. Terrence would shred him like tissue paper. Shred him. It wouldn't even be close. And the way Crawford is, the kind of competitor Crawford is, he wouldn't carry him. He wouldn't be a good sport. He would go in for the kill and whoop his ass within 2 minutes.
How about a little bit past it, Errol Spence?
Errol Spence? Oh, jeez. No, dude, he shot. Can he even make it to the ring from the locker room? I don't think so. I don't think so. I don't even think he could make it to the ring. He's shot, guys. He can barely even see. That's why the Fundora fight fell apart. Dude, he belongs nowhere near the ring. He's shot.
Do you think
made Tim Tszyu look like a frightful youngin?
How would Jake you think perform against a Bivol or Beterbiev?
Jake Paul? Oh,
yeah.
Jeez, dude. He would get trounced within a round.
You don't think he...
Dude, against either one. Now, you're talking about a completely different level. That is a different stratosphere, man.
Or Virgil Ortiz.
Virgil Ortiz would whoop his ass. Virgil Ortiz with his power and his deep amateur background, his speed, man, he would whoop Jake Paul's ass. Once again, man, the levels to this thing.
I was gonna say, yeah, no, maybe Oscar Valdez.
Now, I thought you were referring to Oscar De La Hoya. That'd be a more evenly matched fight.
Oscar had. Do you think what happened to Mike would happen to Oscar, or no?
No, I think Oscar would beat him.
Even though
Hey,
Oscar
guys,
has.
hold on, Tony. It's my pleasure to welcome at this time Coach Joey. Joey, how you doing, my friend?
Hey, Joe.
Good. How are you guys, man?
Oh boy, I'll tell you what. How are things in the Gems arena?
Oh, it's good. I mean, I don't know if you've been there recently, but as you see, we're pumping out content very frequently in the light of all these big fights getting announced.
Yeah, I saw that you guys just revealed the analysis for Autistic Power, Daniel Dubois versus Joseph, the meth dealer Parker. I love it.
Mhm.
Meth dealer. What do you mean?
Hey, Google Magic, brother, look it up. Look it up because I'm not going to talk about it on the air.
Hey, so Joey, do you agree with like? Why do you think people underestimate like before the fight with Morrell? People always said David Benavidez had no defense whatsoever. Like even hardcore fans said this that David Morrell would have walked through David because David just uses his face to as his defense. Why do you think that is? Is just the style David David Benavidez fights? That's why they thought he had no defense, or just a lack of education?
I mean, it's a combination of both because it's the lack of education. Because if you actually do pay attention to Benavidez, you would know he has head movement. The issue with his defense isn't his head; it's his feet. Really,
Yep.
that's always been Benavidez's issue. He doesn't have the most fleeted footwork, but his head movement is pretty good. At least early on in the fight, he's pretty defensively responsible. So if you're just trying to headhunt David Benavidez, you're actually going to have quite a tough time. The trick has always been to go to the body, but I think it's because of the fact that Benavidez has a tendency to either stay on the ropes or just walk straight in. That people think, and like I said, he can be hit in between those, especially when he's just in an inactive high guard trying to counter you. That people think, oh, he's just a walking target, but in reality, no, he's just trying to set you up with counter punches. And in the light of his more recent fights, he's been getting better at his defense as well. So I think his defense has improved, but
I think it has improved dramatically. But,
yeah.
Coach Joey, it was a genuine shocker that everything that Coach Ronnie told me, David Morrell, it seemed like he just wanted to get in a pissing match with Benavidez and prove that he was the tougher guy in the ring. Didn't really do anything until the 11th and 12th round to win the fight.
So what me and Jem suspected was correct. Are you saying he pretty much crumbled under the lights and just threw out the game plan?
Yep. That's exactly it. And Coach Ronnie and Coach Santos, they were there. Hey, man, move your head and go to the body. They were telling him that in the corner. But where was it? Could you think of any meaningful body shots that he threw in 12 rounds?
If I did, I'd probably be able to count all of them. That's how.
In one hand. And
Yeah.
where was the jab?
Where were the angles is my question.
Where was the jab? Where were the angles? Why was he just, with all of his athletic gifts, why was he there relying on the high guard defense with no jab? And
That
then
was it.
Coach Ronnie was telling him, hey, let your hands go. Get off first. Be more assertive. Where was that? He was
Maybe that I've said this.
and he was hold on, Tony. He was having a hard time anticipating where he was going to be letting his hands go. He couldn't counter him after round 4. And he didn't start getting off first and being more assertive until round 11. What happened? He hurt him again. Where was that in the mid to late rounds?
Yeah, and I've said with Morrell after that fight, I analyzed it, Joey, and I said with a friend of mine, and we came to the same conclusion. I think him being young and the amount of fights he had, the lack of experience caught up to him. Even though he won a championship, he didn't have enough round. Like his championship fight was the only one that went the distance. The fights before that, he was knocking guys out early. Do you think knocking guys out early actually affects the progress of a fighter because you don't actually know what you're actually looking at and stuff like that?
Well, it's more. I mean, it's not even. I wouldn't even say as simple as him knocking out fighters early. I would say it's more. He only had 11 or 12 fights, and as a result of that, he doesn't have a lot of experience. So either you're going to be one of two fighters. You're either going to be a fighter who, although with the lack of experience, with all the rounds you put into sparring, you're going to show that experience within fighting, or you're going to have to get a lot of fights throughout your professional career in order for you to adjust to the pros like Benavidez has. And Morrell proved not to be either of those. And that's really what this fight came down to. It just seems as if Morrell just did not have the IQ to properly fight Benavidez because he could not have fought a worse fight if you paid him to.
Yeah, and I asked Joe this question. Joey, that I felt that I wouldn't say Ronnie got overconfident in the strategy, but I felt that David, for some reason, thought his strategy was going to work on the same strategy he's used on his previous opponents would have worked on Benavidez. He got overconfident in that strategy, and
No, he didn't even use that strategy, brother. If he had just used the technique and the skill set that he used against Aidos Yerbasanala, it's an easy fight. He showed none of that. He folded like a lawn chair under the bright lights in the big stage. His immaturity, his pride, and his arrogance got in the way. That's what happened. And this is why I didn't do Ronnie's show on Tuesday. Because I didn't want to put him in that position. What is he going to say? He's going to throw his guy under the bus? And let me tell you what's going to happen, guys. He is going to show his immaturity even further by scrapping, leaving Coach Ronnie and training under Bob Santos from this point forward.
which is a mistake.
That's a huge mistake. What he needs to do is listen and be humble. Because I'm sorry, if he uses the same tactics that he used against and the same craft that he showed against Aidos Yerbasanala, he does much better. And he possibly stops him late, Benavidez. Benavidez, I talked to Jose Sr. after the fight, and he goes, man, David admitted in the corner and after the fight that he had never been hit that hard in his life. And he said, if he just goes to the body early and commits to a body attack consistently, this is a very different fight, and he possibly stops my son.
Oh, wow.
Jose Sr. said that.
When Jose Sr. says that, like that's worrisome.
I'll say this, man. The only thing that David Morrell showed in that fight was that he's a tough enough guy to be there. He passed that test. That he definitely showed his physical and mental durability. That's it, though. Why would he get into a pissing match with David Benavidez Jr. or David?
That's not a good game plan.
Yeah, no. Dude, he threw the game plan out the window and wanted to prove that he was a tougher man in the ring. Well, I'll tell you what, that doesn't win him fights. That wasn't going to win him the fight. They had a game plan. Dude, all fight week, they were working on go to the body, work behind the jab, turn him in the center of the ring, keep everything in the center of the ring. He didn't do any of that. He did it for maybe the first 3 or 4 rounds. That was it. and that he didn't show anything else until the 11th. He wasn't trying to get off first. He wasn't trying to be more assertive, and it was really frustrating. I will say this, though. Made for a great fight. That was a fun fight to watch.
Did you guys see that David's
Hold on,
Benavidez?
hold on, Tony. Lobster, welcome to the show, sir. Selena stories and Don Tarkin stories, please. I tell you what, guys. I am going to pull out and read before we end tonight. I'm going to read a chapter from the book of Don Chargan and Lorraine Chargan, A Match Made in Boxing Heaven. I'm going to read the chapter in which he meets old Blue Eyes Frank Sinatra for the first time. And so I'll end the show with a story. So please stay tuned for that, Lobster. And thank you for bringing that up, my friend.
Did you guys see, like, during that fight, did you guys see any
Good to see you. Good to see you, Michael.
like,
hold
any
on, Tony. Hold on. Iceman, my brother in Christ. Hey, brother, I hope you guys can join me if you're interested. I am going to be going live for the very first time on my other channel, God's Perfect Love. And I'm going to be giving prophetic messages. I'm going to be doing my prayer, and I'm going to be giving a sermon, shedding some light on what we've seen in this country since Donald Trump's inauguration. And it might surprise you guys where the religious part comes into play. So please tune in for that. That's going to be tomorrow at 8 p.m. Eastern, 7 p.m. Central. I'm sorry, as you were, Tony.
I was going to ask you and Joey, did you guys see, like, any modicum of improvement with Benavidez, his footwork, or is it still the same?
No, it's still the
Joey,
same.
would you like to take that one?
I can answer that. No, his footwork was not much better. But to be honest, it didn't like his serious footwork issues did not come out as frequently because of David Morrell's poor game plan.
That's it. Or lack of one.
Exactly. If you wanted to see David Benavidez's poor footwork, you would have saw it in the Andrade fight. You would have saw it in the Caleb Plant fight. You would have saw it in fights for where he had to come forward and close distance and cut off the ring. He didn't have to cut off the ring with David Morrell. He stayed directly in front of him. He made it easy. Even Benavidez himself said it. He made it very easy for me to hit him. It's very easy to hit someone if they're just sitting in front of you in an inactive high guard.
Yep.
So,
is David's defense like a high guard also? Is Benavidez's defense a high guard like Morrell's too? Or
it was much tighter, much more effective. He was cutting off. He was eliminating a lot more targets. Look, David Morrell, as soon as he started getting tagged with that uppercut, the left uppercut and the right uppercut, you would have thought that he would switch, either it turned sideways, start fighting behind that shoulder, pointing that shoulder right in his chest, and started eliminating half those targets that way. But he never did. Never did. Dude, I saw Morrell executing much more sound defense against his sparring partners in Houston in the weeks leading up to the event. It was non-existent, guys, and we were all in shock. Everyone who saw David Morrell in camp leading up to that, we were in shock. And I'm sorry, you cannot pin that on Ronnie Shields or Bob Santos.
Well, I could tell you of another fight that I'm going to assume probably is going to have a similar outcome, if not worse, based off of the lack of experience. The only difference is it's not considered a 50-50 fight even on paper. And that's obviously, if you guys haven't guessed, Shakur Stevenson versus Floyd Schofield.
Oh, geez, man. Look, man, that's the one where I'm going to get up and grab my beer, grab my popcorn, get my DoorDash. Dude, I'm not even looking forward to that, man.
I mean, it's one that fight in particular. It's kind of making it for where, especially with all the preparation that apparently Shakur is taking, it's screaming that he is about to have, or he should have, a showcase performance.
It's gonna look. You and I both know that this matchup is gonna make him look like the second coming of Floyd Mayweather Jr.
And he should look like that with he should not, mind you, it doesn't mean that he is, but he should look like that. with the
hold on.
opposition in front of
Joey, would you like to answer this? Because it seems that Kevin, as of late, just wants to be the contrarian. Platinum says, I don't see it. Canelo versus Paul. Why not Crawford versus Canelo on Netflix? Because Netflix is not interested in paying out that kind of coin for half the size of the audience. Why not get involved with both? Because no one outside of Turkey Al Sheikh wants to work with Crawford at this time. Dude, and I've already stated this earlier in the show.
No,
I'm
I
sorry.
mean,
Dude,
it's
Joey, do you have anything to add to that?
I mean, when I saw Canelo versus Jake Paul, I mean, I said it. I'm like, unfortunately, this is a far more not just a lucrative, a far more lucrative fight than anything Canelo could get out of fighting competitive boxing at this point. So people need to understand that this is the face of boxing versus the face of YouTube boxing. And unfortunately, the face of YouTube boxing just fought Mike Tyson for over $20-30 million, if not more so than that, on free television, on just Netflix.
With the live gate, he made over an estimated $50 million
Exactly.
as the lead promoter and as the lead attraction. Hold on real quick. Hold on. Iceman, D-Style's been doing politics for about an hour a day. Well, you know what? Hopefully he knows more about politics than he does boxing.
Yeah,
Is D-Style hating on Donald Trump again? Yeah, Hawker. Well, I tell you what, have him tune into my religious channel tomorrow. And I'll even post the link.
And do you guys really think Jake has a true... Do you guys really think Jake really has a chance at... Does Canelo dominate Jake?
Coach, dude, is that a real question, Tony? No offense.
No, because Jake's fans think he's going to have a legitimate chance.
They're supposed to, though.
Real people, even
Joey,
real casual fans don't believe that.
Hold on, Tony. Joey, please give all of our listeners, get us into the mindset of a fighter even before he steps foot in the ring.
I mean, look, the best question to ask is Jake Paul gonna make? Is he gonna make it 12 or 10 or 8 or how many rounds?
It's gonna be a 10-round fight.
It's a what?
It's gonna be a 10-round fight.
A 10-round fight.
He doesn't make it out. He doesn't make it past round 3 because Canelo, even though you saw him carry Berlanga, you saw him carry Munguia to a certain extent, you're not going to see him carry Jake Paul for the entire 10 rounds.
Does he carry Jake Paul if he gets 10 million per round?
He's going to do that. Look, you don't get paid for overtime in this business. And I'm sorry, dude, Canelo, he may not even try to knock him out, but he's going to knock him out via body shot within 3 rounds. Because think about this. Coach Joey, you know this. He is Canelo, like him or not, guys. He is the most creative combination puncher in boxing right now, outside of Naoya Inoue.
Oh, no,
or maybe Bam Rodriguez.
Where do you have Terrence in that?
No, he's not a combination puncher.
Combination puncher, yeah. Crawford can throw, but that's not his bread and butter. If you were talking about flat out,
he leaves himself vulnerable if he sits in the pocket and throws combinations to the body and head body. He's a sharpshooter. He's a sharpshooter from mid to long range.
But
and he's a counterpuncher by trade.
Tank is not a counterpuncher. I mean, Tank is not a combination puncher. Excuse me.
No, he is going to take your head off, and once he gets his distance right, and he gets your timing down, and he gets his eyes adjusted, and he takes his time doing it. But once he gets his eyes adjusted to the timing, rhythm, movement, speed of his opponent, it's all over. It's all over. Tank is a methodical badass.
If you want to think of combination punchers,
I'm sorry.
You could think. Just to give Tony a good idea. If you want to think of combination punchers, think of David Benavidez. Think of Errol Spence.
Yep.
Canelo Alvarez. Naoya Inoue.
Bam right
Depending
away.
on what I have a question. Would you guys consider, like, depending on which version of fighter you get with him, is Tio a combination puncher or not really?
He can be, but I wouldn't consider him a prolific combination puncher, and I wouldn't consider him one of the best combination punchers. It's something that he does, but it's not something he excels at. I just named you 4 fighters that do it and are really good at it. So
Earl, to me, Earl doesn't seem like he's consistent enough to justify saying he's
no. Earl in his prime was
no,
outside of Canelo Alvarez was the best combination puncher or best pocket counter or pocket combination puncher in boxing.
I agree.
He was brilliant in the pocket, and that was his bread and butter. He was that like Gogi. He always uses football metaphors, Coach Gogi, and he would always compare it to the ground and pound offensive running game.
And if you're talking mid to long range combination puncher, it's Dimitri Bivol.
Oh boy, I tell you what, some of his combinations were beautiful, man, against Arthur Beterbiev. Unfortunately,
would you say Bam is the better close quarters counter puncher?
I'm sorry, Tony. Hold on, brother. Sorry. Please, while I'm talking, my friend. Sorry. Don't make me mute your ass. It's all right, Tony. I love you, man. And look, and I forgot what I was going to say now, damn it.
I remember you talking about Beterbiev.
Oh, yeah. Look. Bivol, that's whenever he got into trouble. When he started admiring his own work, in the immortal words of Teddy Atlas, started admiring his own work and got too greedy, went to the well, one too many times, he would land, and then he would stay in the pocket, and he would try to capitalize on which, whenever he thought he hurt Arthur, that's when he got into trouble. You don't want to sit in the pocket and admire your own work against a guy who can punch like Arthur Beterbiev. And every single time he did that, he got hurt, and he had to retreat. And honestly, Coach Joey, do you see it getting any better for Bivol in the rematch, which is in, guys, 2 weeks?
I mean, I did see, mind you, I don't know if this is recent, but I did see clips of Bivol trying to, it looked like he was working on clinching. And if that is an indication, then there could be a better chance for him. Because what he really just needed to do was slow down the momentum of Beterbiev. Now, I'm not going to say he's going to outmuscle Beterbiev. I don't see that happening, but at the very least, stop him from throwing punches while you just have your hands up. Because even if he's not landing, he's stealing rounds from you. So if you can just,
tell you what, I think the difference in that fight was he really seemed to pull out by outworking Bivol in the final 30 seconds of each round, all the close competitive rounds that are supposed swing rounds that could have gone easily either way.
I agree.
I thought Bivol did a really good job of outworking him in the last 30 seconds, and he stole the overwhelming majority of those swing rounds. And look, it doesn't help. You know, that Joey, talk about the mental pressure that Beterbiev puts on you, and he was finding range, cutting off the ring, doing a brilliant job of cutting off the ring, closing the distance as early as round 2.
I mean, it was less about Beterbiev cutting off the ring, but more just really just staying direct, like his corner was screaming out, especially in the second half, just staying directly in front of Bivol, not giving him space to breathe. And if you don't give him space to breathe, he can't pump out his best punch, which is his jab, and he can't control the distance. And not being able to control distance against Beterbiev is, you're not going to win rounds like that.
Yep, excellent observation, Coach Joey. Hold on, real quick. I've got to chime in on this real quick, guys. Real quick. I guess D Style is still down with all that woke BS. Look, and this little midget, you would think he would know better. He lives on a border city. Why on earth would he still be pro-Democrat if he lives in El Paso? He should know better than anyone what a catastrophe their immigration policy was. It's like, dude, why don't you go to church rather than kneeling at the altar of liberalism woke bullshit. I'll tell you what, man, I'm going to send him a link so he can join me tomorrow, and I'll shred him like tissue paper. And there it is. There it is. Hold on. Beterbiev should invite Beevils. Oh, boy. No, not good. Not good. That's not good, guys.
Oh,
And
jeez.
look at this, Coach Joey. Jake Paul would knock little Bud Crawford out of the boxing ring.
Are you crazy?
Joey, take care of my light work, brother.
I think Hawker's being sarcastic.
No, he's not. He's not.
Some comments just don't really need much entertaining. You kind of just
We
have
love
to
you, brother,
let
but that
them.
was ridiculous. That is ridiculous. And
Yeah.
yes, that's true. It's going to be at cruiserweight, guys. Canelo versus Paul will be at the cruiserweight limit, 200 pounds. That's right.
Yeah,
I want to
and
see Benavidez versus Beterbiev next, or Beevil.
So where do you go from here? And I'll say this, Coach Joey. What realistically are Benavidez' chances against either Arthur Beterbiev or Dimitri Bivol at 175?
we discussed this right after the fight. So we said, look, he can have some success, but I would not favor him against either. I wouldn't favor him against Beterbiev because
Not
of
even
his
close.
natural style. Because at the end of the day, Benavidez' style is about pressure. And what we saw in his 2 consecutive fights at light heavyweight, he's not a knockout puncher.
No.
Both of those guys stood right in front of him and were practically like just going toe to toe and took his best punches and didn't crumble. Like, sure, Morrell may have crumbled mentally in terms of the game plan, but he didn't crumble physically. So, but you put Beterbiev in front of anybody who stands in front of him and doesn't move around the ring like Bivol does, they're going to fall.
Dude,
so
why do you think Jose Sr. stated after at the press conference that they favored the Bivol matchup?
Oh, of course.
Over the Beterbiev matchup? Because, dude, that's suicide. That's like trying to win a fight against a Mack truck coming right at you.
Yeah, no. But the Bivol fight, you see, with that one, that's for the footwork flaws that did not, for the strategy that Morrell did not showcase in this fight, that's Bivol's bread and butter. So, and he's the best.
That's right there in his wheelhouse, man. That's the worst possible style matchup for David Benavidez. Now, this is what I think. And Boxing Scholar, welcome to the show, sir. It's good to see you, my friend. And if you would care to join us, we always I'm going to drop the link in case you want to join us. Hold on. Because Bivol will take more damage against our. Well, look. I'll say this. Coach Joey, if Bivol wins this fight on the 22nd, obviously that sets up a big time rubber match. And so where does Benavidez go if he can't fight the winner?
I think if I'm Benavidez, I would go after the winner, the winner on the undercard. Honestly, the winner between
Callum Smith, the winner of Callum Smith and Buatsi.
Absolutely, because if you ask me, outside of Benavidez, I think Buatsi's been doing the heavy lifting as a contender. He's fought great opposition: Craig Richards, Willie Hutchinson, Dan Aziz. I mean, some people won't appreciate these names, and now he's fighting Callum Smith.
Tell you what, man, he's got some balls. He's got some
balls. Weight classes, but look,
Parker 175. But look, Tony, this is Promotions 101. Once again, in this business, the only way you're going to increase your market value, if you're not a big ticket seller, is by taking on the best of any weight division. That's the only strategy that you have. And so if Terrence Crawford wants to increase his market value, come in full circle, guys, he would be better suited taking on the best at 154 and just trying to increase his market value that way. But Look, against Madrimov. Could you imagine Terrence Crawford versus a guy like Bakram Murtazaliev?
I love it.
I would love to see it, but not if you're a Crawford fan.
I mean, I think I
No.
wouldn't.
Look, it's not going to look like Tim Tszyu, not by any stretch of the imagination. But guys, that's a guy who's a biscuit shy, maybe, of super middleweight.
No, he's a big fighter. He's
How
probably the
on
biggest.
earth does he continue to make 54?
The
But
fact
I
that
tell you what, and even against W.A.W, I don't know if Terrence Crawford wins that fight.
How about him
well,
versus Charlo?
I mean,
Don't even mention Charlo, brother.
yeah, I don't even know if he's still in boxing. But with Boachuk, stylistically, that's a style. Unless Crawford decides to let go of his consistent boxing IQ, that's a fight that stylistically favors him. But Bakram, on the other hand, that is probably the fight that I think would be the most intriguing out of every fight for him at 154.
That
More
or
so,
Virgil Ortiz.
yeah, but I don't see Crawford fighting Virgil at this stage of his career unless Turkey offers him big money. From what and I don't know if that takes place.
Crawford needs to humble himself and understand that he's not that level of attraction. Quit being delusional, dude. Quit thinking that you're on that level, that with Canelo or with Jake Paul, or even with Noe Inoue. You're not that guy. You're not a rock star anywhere except maybe for Omaha, Nebraska. And who gives a shit?
So Joseph, I did want to ask. So I got here late, but why do you think that fight fell apart?
And I explained this earlier, and thank you for bringing that up again in case no one heard it in the first 30 minutes. But this is why it's titled, the podcast, Is Bud versus Canelo Really Dead? No, it's not. Now, from what I was told, and it was reported this, and it just affirms everything that I was told, that they just suspended these negotiations. Because according to Netflix, or according to what I was told, Netflix does not want. They think it's going to hurt the marketing of this fight or the legitimacy of this fight if Canelo goes ahead and strikes a deal and schedules a fight on the calendar for September.
I
They
agree.
think it's going to get in the way with marketing. And so, according to what I was told by several people involved with this negotiation, that they are suspending it momentarily. So the reports that, it's dead. No, it's not. It's suspended right now because of the deal with Netflix, and they're insistent on Canelo not making a deal and putting another fight on the schedule. But in my opinion, does that mean that it's going to happen, Bud versus Canelo? In my opinion, no, because Bud is too big of a delusional pain in the ass. And Canelo doesn't need him to make money. And unless Crawford concedes to all of Canelo's demands, what is Canelo going to tell him, Tony?
Go to hell.
No, you know. Tell it. Come on.
Go fuck yourself.
Yep. Hey, man, get the fuck out of here, man. That's what he's going to tell him.
I mean, see, when I saw the reports, Canelo versus Crawford is off, I laughed because I'm like, this fight never was official. And on top of that, what people forgot, I'm like, I thought it was already odd that, like, I understand Canelo negotiating with Crawford, obviously, in that sense, but at the same time, we all knew Canelo was going to fight in May. So it makes sense, the fact that at least when I came to the same conclusion that probably the negotiations were just suspended for the time being for Canelo to announce his upcoming May fight. Now, if it was William Skoll, like people were suspecting, then I'm sure the Crawford fight.
I told you guys that fight wasn't going to happen.
Yeah, if it would have been Canelo versus Skoll, then I'm sure the Crawford fight would have been made official, because I don't think anybody really would have cared about marketing for a Skoll fight. But since it's Jake Paul, then that's a completely different story, because unfortunately, whether people want to admit it, if it's Jake Paul, the May fight is much bigger than the September fight.
Much bigger. This is going to be, and if he knocks out Jake Paul, it'll be the purging of everything. And dare I say, Canelo, his level of attraction would reach prime Oscar De La Hoya status. prime Floyd Mayweather Jr. status. It would reach that level, guys.
Honestly, Canelo fighting Jake Paul would probably make the Crawford Canelo fight even bigger. In some retrospect, it would make
Well,
at least from
you can
Canelo.
hope. I tell you what, Crawford is dumb enough. I shouldn't say dumb enough. He's delusional enough where he would still demand a bigger cut than what he deserves, even after the massive hit that Jake Paul Canelo is going to be. He's still delusional enough to think that he deserves a bigger chunk of the pie. And in my opinion, even though it's not dead yet formally, I still have to see it to believe it, that it's going to happen. Because of what I know about Terrence Crawford and his horrific and notorious reputation for negotiating.
Like, the way I see it, if Crawford's not fighting Canelo, I think he's gonna hang it up because he's not gonna get that type of money anywhere. I know Turkey talked about recently. I don't know. I don't know if you covered this, Joseph, but Turkey recently came out and said something about out of revelation of the Canelo Paul news, he just like stopped negotiations altogether and is now looking into making a Crawford Duran Ennis fight later this year.
Well, best of luck with that. How much do you think after taking on and receiving over $17 million for that snoozer against Madrimov, how much do you think he's going to expect to fight a guy like Duran Boots Ennis?
Yeah.
He's going to want at least $25 million, and it's not there, guys. Look, Turki Al-Sheikh, obviously he's learning as he's going. When you look at the proposed matchups that he had for this fall, why do you think he wants to stage a rematch between Devin Haney versus Ryan Garcia? And why do you think he was so interested in staging Canelo versus Crawford? Because those are the two biggest matchups that you can make outside of Jake Paul in the American market. No others are going to make money.
I'd say there's three. There's just really three. But I would say probably the third one dwarfs in comparison to those two, which would be
third? What's the third, my friend?
Perhaps Gervonta Tank Davis versus Shakur Stevenson. That's about it.
Yeah, but you're right. That gets dwarfed. And honestly, the kind of money that both of those guys would expect, no, it's not going to be made. It's dead in the water. In fact, you have a better chance of seeing a rematch between Ryan Garcia and Gervonta Davis at 144 pounds to end his career.
Yeah, it's just with the way it just looks like these two are gonna just be circling around each other until Gervonta Tank Davis just decides to retire. It doesn't
He's
seem like
going
that
to
fight's gonna
retire. And honestly, good riddance.
Yeah.
Kiss my ass. We don't want to see you anymore.
Yeah.
We don't care. Who cares about that prima donna bitch? And dude, I'm sorry. And with the Cat Williams hairdo, yeah, I don't care. I don't care. I don't want to see Tank Davis anymore if he's going to be fighting the Laurent Roaches of the world. And he's going to expect a guaranteed $15 million. Dude, he's not worth it.
Yeah.
So he's now rivaling guys like Teofimo Lopez, Devin Haney, and Terrence Crawford for being among the most delusional. Because let's just face it, what pay-per-views of his have done well outside of Ryan Garcia and Leo Santa Cruz?
Yeah.
I'll wait.
The thing is about Gervonta Tank Davis that people need to wake up and understand is that his fight isn't being discussed this year. Like this has to be the least talked about Gervonta Tank Davis fight I've seen in years. Because
and for good reason.
Before
Joey, before we because it's getting a little late and I have to shift. I promised that I would actually tell a chapter, read a chapter from the Don Chargan book, the chapter where it's Old Blue Eyes, where he meets Frank Sinatra. But I do need to get your take while you're here.
Of course.
On the big fight coming up on Valentine's Day, Friday.
Oh,
Dennis Baranchyk versus, oh boy. Oh my gosh, man. His name eludes me. What is his name?
Keyshawn Davis.
Yep. Oh, Keyshawn Davis. Wow, dude. And in my opinion, this is not going to be easy for Keyshawn Davis.
I
He
will.
does and I'm sure you've already done the analysis.
Yes,
But
yes, but
he
continue.
does a really good job of disrupting the timing and rhythm of all of his opponents, even for guys who were disjunct already, like Emmanuel Navarrete. He does a great job of forcing you to fight his fight. And this is not going to be easy for Keyshawn Davis, although I'm favoring Keyshawn to win, but it's not going to be easy. In fact, he's going to look downright awkward for the overwhelming majority of this fight. Your thoughts on this, Joey?
I mean, the thing about Barincic that is what's going to make this so awkward or just unconventional for Keyshawn is that, well, Barincic like his compatriot likes to take lots and lots of angles. So he likes to turn you, and he's also, like, from what I also noticed about Barincic, he's also a lot more physical than I originally had suspected. So just judging from those two instances, it's bound to be, it's not a clean fight. This is not going to be a clean fight by any means. This is not going to be a fight for where Keyshawn is going to look pretty. It's just not going to happen.
It's going to look downright uncomfortable for most of the fight.
Yeah.
He does a really great job of disrupting your timing and rhythm.
Yeah. For a sharpshooter like Keyshawn, it's going to take him quite a few rounds to adjust to that. And on top of that, Barincic, the same way how he likes to take angles, he also likes to come forward. And with Keyshawn, with a fighter who likes to control distance, it's gonna mess up, like you said, it's going to mess up his timing until he adjusts. And that could be for several rounds. I'm not saying he's gonna lose those rounds, Keyshawn, but he's not going to look incredible for the first maybe quarter of the fight, I would assume.
That's right. That's right. I agree with all points, man. And in my opinion, this is really interesting. But
I think it's a terrific first fight.
Look, if Keyshawn is who we think he is, he should win. I mean, he needs to win these fights. Not everyone's going to be right there in front of him. He needs to find a way, dig deep and find a way to win these fights. We are going to find out the character of Keyshawn Davis on Valentine's Day, and I can't wait. I'm also looking forward to Vito's debut at 160. I got a chance to see him spar with Lorenzo Truck Simpson. Ooh, he looked really good at 60, man, against that super middleweight. In fact, he was whooping his ass on the inside. I really like the added wrinkle that Coach Ronnie is showing Vito in the gym. He is pointing that shoulder right in his opponent's chest, and he is banging to the body, throwing really good combinations on the inside. And it's going to be really interesting because Conor, he fights in that typical European amateur style where they move in and out of range and like to have everything from mid to long range. And man, Vito looks really strong in the gym at 160. I'm really looking forward to this one. I'm also really interested in seeing the young man make his return to the ring after getting his ass smoked like a cheap cigar in LA last year. And that's, well, Big Baby, Jared Anderson. Your thoughts on, will we see a confident Big Baby in the ring?
I mean, after a devastating knockout or just performance like that, you're bound to be timid after that. I would be very surprised if he came back into the ring being as confident and as risk-taking as he was prior to the Bacoli fight. So I imagine at least a few rounds. I don't know his opponent, but I'm assuming they brought him back with a soft touch. So
yeah, look, man, I don't even know if his opponent is either, but I'm afraid that he's going to be Humpty Dumpty, that he's going to be as tentative and as nervous as a toothache. But I will say this, and here's my hot take, guys. Not hot take, crazy take. Maybe I'm weird, but thinking about this, Efe Ajagba and Martin Bakole. Efe Ajagba's a one-handed fighter. He's got that big right hand. A lot like Eric Molina, the drummer boy. Remember him?
Mm-hmm.
And Martin Bakole, with his generous, liberal, two-fisted attack, he's going to test that chin of Martin Bakole. And he can crack. In my opinion, guys, this is going to prove to be a much more fun fight than everyone thinks. Because Efe Ajagba can punch. And he's going to have a lot of opportunities to land that big right hand. And if Martin Bakole doesn't come into this fight less than 200 pounds, look out. I think it's going to be much more interesting than everyone believes. Because have you seen Martin Bakole in the gym lately?
No, how's
He
he
looks
looking?
like a fat ass who weighs about 350 pounds right now. In my opinion, this is a fun fight, man. And don't be shocked if Efe Ajagba makes a very, very competitive match out of this. Your thoughts, friend?
I mean, truthfully, I gotta say the heavyweight division, although it doesn't get because of this era doesn't really get as much credit as it deserves, but these top 10 heavyweights have been fighting each other a lot recently. I mean, we just had
Hell
Fury,
yeah. Thank you, Turkey Al Sheik.
yeah, Fury. We just had Fury Usyk, AJ Dubois. We're about to have Dubois Parker as well as Caballero and Zhang. We also had earlier had
Oh,
Zhang Parker, Caballero Sanchez, and now we're having Bakole Jagba. I mean, you can't
oh,
ask for more.
brother, do you think Ajit Caballero is dumb enough or stingy or do you think he's greedy enough to try and actually land those bombs in the first half of the fight against a guy who's a sharpshooting counterpuncher, very crafty,
For a front
heavy-handed
runner.
like Zhilei Zhang?
I mean, it's
Or do you
just.
think he's going to be smart and just play the long game?
I mean, it's like you said, if he's smart, he should like all the films should tell you that Zhang is a front runner. After round 6, he's completely just tapped out, and I think, and for Caballero's style, that should play directly into it, and he could either outwork or possibly even stop Zhang if Zhang is just at that point at his mercy while Caballero's just unloading on him. So I'm not saying he
Yeah,
shouldn't throw any punches, but he should be at least defensively responsible and not try to go toe to toe with a sharpshooter counterpuncher like Zhang. Absolutely,
yeah,
I
but
agree with
he's
that.
young and he's undefeated. And after what he did to Frank Sanchez, he might be dumb enough to try and make a statement. That will
Yeah,
be his undoing. But I tell you what, I'm going to be right there to watch it. Gosh,
no,
this is going to be a great card, guys.
oh, there's nothing but 50-50 fights except for Shakur Schofield.
Ah, geez, Shakur, and dude, try convincing Floyd Senior of that. Man, that guy is almost as annoying as Devin or Bill Haney.
Almost. Wow, that's kind of not good. It's kind of like what you said earlier when someone said that Canelo is matchmaking like Floyd Mayweather. You're kind of not giving Floyd Mayweather or Bill Haney enough credit there.
Oh, dude, no, man. I mean, both of those guys, honestly, dude, they make a very strong case for commissions, state athletic commissions for outlawing fathers in the corners. Like, honestly, man, they are both mad. Like, honestly, somewhere in right now, Teofimo Senior is looking at both of them and going, you know what? I'm not that bad, guys.
Oh
Like, honestly,
man,
somewhere Angel Garcia is going, you know what? I'm not that bad.
the saddest part is
Dude,
I
they
really
make both of those idiots make Angel Garcia look like a prince. Yeah, I said it.
I mean the saddest part about this is just that I truly think they're just trying to cash out early because I can't see it. I can't see it. With Morel, I could see it was a 50-50 fight on paper for a reason because it was
Yeah,
possible,
and it
but
played out to be a great fight. Very
it
competitive.
still did, even without the
Yeah.
good game plan. But this fight, I just don't see it.
No, I don't see it either, brother. This is going to make Shakur look like a star. This is going to make Shakur look like Floyd Jr. with his reflexes, his understanding of range and distance, the stance, oh my gosh, he's going to pick Schofield apart from start to finish.
See, it really depends on the Schofield
Ugly
we
dude.
get. If Schofield decides to jump in and get reckless, Shakur could actually get the stoppage. But if Schofield decides, hey, I wanna continue my career and not be the first guy Shakur stopped in a while, then Shakur's probably gonna box to a very unsatisfying decision for people as he's trying to cut the ring off and just trying to break down Schofield as he's trying to just survive.
Well,
So
look, Floyd is always in great shape, and he's a tough kid, mentally and physically. I don't think he gets stopped, but he gets whooped. He gets whooped, and I don't think Shakur is going to take enough chances to where he stops him. But he could if he put his foot on the gas. But I don't think he's going to. We've never seen it. We've never seen him put his foot on the gas and really put forth a Floyd Jr. versus Arturo Gatti type performance.
well,
Not against. Go ahead.
there was one. I mean, Turo got there's no Mayweather Gotti. That's a very very high.
That's Crawford Spence esque.
Yeah, and like there's a reason why those performances stand out. But when he fought Jamel Herring, he definitely did put a great effort for which where I think that's where Shakur went from people from the Nakatila fight where people said, oh, he's just a super defensive fighter to being like, oh, he can come forward and apply pressure. So it just depends if how badly he wants it, and if Schofield is, if he's as mentally tough, then perhaps Shakur doesn't go for the knockout. But if he starts to crumble like we saw, and with these other fighters with little to no experience, and Shakur could get it. It just depends on him. He needs it. That's the thing at this point. If he's trying to put more demand and squeeze on Gervonta Tank Davis, even though at the end of the day, I have little doubt that fight's going to take place at this point.
Yeah, I tell you what, guys. Oh, geez. Yeah, that's going to be my popcorn fight. That's where I'm going to go call my DoorDash, order my pizza. Yeah. Because let's just face it, guys. We're in for another 8-hour, 9-hour fight card.
Oh my gosh, that's the one thing. It's great fights, but it's going to be long.
Yeah. So I don't know about you, man. I still haven't gotten used to scheduling my fight parties at 11 a.m.
Yeah, that is one thing about the Saudi fights that is a little odd, or not odd, but just it's different. It's very different. The fact that the fights finish around 6 p.m. rather than starting at that time. So it's definitely
Hold on real quick. Hawker Mustang says, now, is this a serious statement? Turkey is way better than Al Heyman for boxing. You think? That's not even an argument. Joey?
I'm just counting the days when PBC's finally just out of here.
Well, I'm not, brother, because once again, dude, look, say what you want about Al Heyman. How many events are going to take place in the American market? Big time events? You can count them on one hand, dude. And
Yeah,
without PBC, where is boxing in the American market?
I mean, I agree, but at the same time, is it worth $80 pay-per-views when those American market fights are Benavidez Morel and Tank Roach? Because as great as Benavidez Morel was, we can all agree that was not an $80 pay-per-view fight.
Compared to, see, this is the problem that fans are having with this, and I'm glad we're having this discussion, Joey.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's a distribution deal only, and I broke this down the week before the fight, the way the money is distributed. The co-main event and down the entire prelim, the live gate takes care of all of that.
Right.
But because there is no licensing fee that a network is paying, you guys, the real bosses of boxing, are actually paying in this scenario. The main event fighters' purses. And because of the piracy, they had no choice but to put it at an $80 price point. And if you're comparing it to the days of old, buying Felix Trinidad versus Oscar De La Hoya for $49,
Oh man.
that's like saying, you know what? I'm not going to buy a double cheeseburger at McDonald's because I remember when we used to get it, the same thing for only 99 cents. You can't do that. You know what? I'm not going to pay for a gallon of gas today. I'm not going to fill up my tank because I remember when I was in high school, I remember when gas was only 85 cents a gallon.
See,
You
I
can't use that logic anymore, man.
I agree with you, Joseph. I
In the
do.
same, it's not enjoying the same mainstream health that we once enjoyed. And we grew accustomed to paying only $29 for certain pay-per-views. Like, you remember the old Latin Fury cards Top Rank used to put on?
Of course.
Those are great cards. How much were they? $25?
You see, I think what's making the $80 stand out more is the fact that Turkey is putting out a $26 super card in
I know.
between.
I know. And it's only 3 weeks after that.
It's 3
And so once again, the only reason why he's charging $25 is because that reflects. Now, once again, guys, who sets the price point of the pay-per-view? The network. It's their event. They pay the licensing fee. And because Turkey Al Sheikh is eating the brunt of this, paying for all the purses, the licensing fee doesn't reflect the cost of the main event. And so remember what network showed the first fight between Beterbiev and Bivol? Do you remember?
Oh, yeah, it was Top Rank. Or it was ESPN. ESPN.
ESPN. And how much was it to pay for that one? Nothing.
It was
It was
nothing.
on regular ESPN.
Yeah, you just need a subscription.
So once again, Turkey Al Sheikh is eating the cost of this. He doesn't care if he loses money. And unlike that, you have a benefactor who's paying for the main event, for the entire purse, every fight. And he doesn't care if he loses money. Unlike PBC, the fans, they were paying for the main event, and that's why it was $80. So basically, everyone who purchased that event, they were paying for all the assholes who stole it. And that's the way the money broke down. And if guys like Bruce Gas, Boxing, Jazz, and more, if he wants to complain about this shit, then you know what? Demonetize your channel and don't fucking make money off of talking about these fights that you steal. I don't care, man, if you grew up watching boxing on Wild World of Sports. We're not there anymore. And thanks to jagoffs like you, guess what? We're not getting any more big events in the American market that don't include Jake Paul or aren't Sideshow Bob. This is what you have to look forward to, guys. You had your chance to make a statement, and guess what? I'm going to have the numbers on Monday, how well this pay-per-view performed. Guess what, guys? It's not good.
I would be surprised.
You guys had your chance to make a statement on being labeled as the real bosses of boxing once again, and guess what? You failed miserably. So from this point forward, you get what you give. You take what you get. And you better not complain.
It's unfortunate for fighters like Benavidez because he's a fan's fighter. I would describe him. He's the epitome of that. And with
the only reason why he's not more popular is because Canelo fans have their panties in a bunch about this guy. Otherwise, they'd be right on board.
Of course. I mean, what's not to like about him? He's an action-packed fighter, and his opposition has been nothing. They've been great.
And he talks a lot of shit to build the fight.
It's hard to dislike him from a boxing fan perspective.
It's impossible unless you're a pride flag waving Canelo fan. Yes, I said it. And look, I actually like Canelo, but I can't stand his fans. They're a bunch of pride flag waving weirdos.
That's how I feel about Gervonta Tank Davis fans, Joseph. So you're not
And
alone.
there it is. And dude, I'm not going to argue with you about that either.
Because
Dude, I
my
tell
argument,
you what, they're giving Devin Haney and his obnoxious dad a run for their money in being the most unlikable fans and the most unlikable fighters in boxing right now. And Hawker Mustang, oh, I remember those days too. I remember when Marlboro mediums were 135 a pack. Do you remember mediums back in the day when they first came out? I was like, yes, I can't stand lights, but I can't smoke reds anymore. My lungs and being a singer, I can't take it. So yes, 135 a pack. I remember those days. Tell you what. So once again, guys, you can't use that argument. Man, it's not an $80 pay-per-view. Well, compared to what? The good old days? Those don't exist anymore. So it's either that or you don't see the fight. Take your pick. Take your pick. And I'll do my best Bruce voice. Hey, you know what? You're not gonna. You make me feel guilty about the. You're not gonna make me feel guilty about not paying for this. Boxing owes me. I've been paying for events, and ever since I was in my 20s or in my teens. And so far their internet is undefeated. It's like, dude, you know what, man? Just keep on with your fixed income, man, and quit bitching. But don't be complaining about the fights you not getting, right? The fights that you want, or don't be bitching when you have to stage your fight party at 11 a.m. Because I don't know about you, Coach Joey. I rather enjoyed seeing a major fight card in the evening.
See, I preferred. I see. I think that's what people were happy about until it got quote unquote called off with the fact that there was reports of Crawford Canelo being in Vegas, which means that it was going to be more of an old school Las Vegas main event that would have taken place close to 11 p.m. Midnight Eastern Standard Time.
Well, from what I'm hearing, Canelo versus Jake Paul is more than likely going to happen in the Jerry Dome AT&T Stadium in Arlington, Texas.
Oh, well, that's going to sell.
But that's Canelo, Jake Paul. Chingao. But look, guys, I'm sorry. Do you know why Boxing HBO called their series Boxing After Dark? Because boxing is more enjoyable after dark. Shit, I don't like seeing boxing during the day. I don't. I put up with it when we see the overseas fights because, well, we have no choice. The British fights. We've always seen them during the day, but come on, guys. Don't you miss seeing big-time boxing in the evening? In America? Shit.
Better than Japan. I can't even catch anybody's fights.
That's terrible. At least the Aussies, man, have the decency to slate them, at a reasonable time in the morning where we can see it in the evening over here. But the Japs, did I just say that out loud? The Japs? Chingao, I'm starting to sound like Don Rickles here, man. Dude, the Japanese, they don't give a shit.
No, that fight's at 7 a.m. If
we're lucky.
That's Eastern time. That's Eastern. I got to keep saying that. Yeah.
Yep. Chingao, dude. Well, look, guys, I was going to read a chapter from Don Chargan, but it's getting a little late, and we're approaching now 2 hours. I think I might actually just schedule a matinee show tomorrow where I'm going to record it, where I just read it, and I'll just publish it as a video. So you guys can check it out, the majesty of, because this is an amazing story where Don Chargan meets Frank Sinatra for the very first time. And it really shows a lot. It puts a spotlight on the special relationship that Don and Lorraine really had. The first lady and the president of promotions, the greatest to have ever done it. And he's like the Pete Rose, the all-time hit king of promoters. Like, tell me if this will ever be broken, Joey. He has matchmaking and promoting over 5,000 fight cards throughout his entire career.
What's the second most? Is it even comparable?
It's not even close. That'll never be broke. Just like Pete Rose, it'll never be broken. All-time hit king. God rest his soul. So anyway, guys, I think I'm just going to record that and make a video out of it. I'll do that tomorrow during the day or tonight. And Coach Joey, is there anything that you'd like to discuss in the final 4 minutes of this show?
Yeah. I mean, yeah. Like I said, for anybody saying that was complaining about the matchmaking that Mayweather did in the latter half of his career, guys, if you actually watched those fights with context, guys, he was fighting either top contenders, world champions, or even
Yep.
pound for pound level fighters in
You're
his
here.
late 30s. He fought the David Benavidez of his time. Who was that, you may ask? It was
Marcos
Canelo
Maidana.
Alvarez. Or Marcos Maidana. I would say Canelo because he was the biggest fight of Mayweather's career that wasn't Pacquiao, that was young, undefeated, that people thought would have a genuine chance of beating him.
Oh, but when you look at the style matchup, though,
Oh,
it's
stylistically,
like,
yeah.
even Golden Boy, Don Chargan, because I was working with both of them at the time. And Don was like, you know what, Canelo, I don't like this fight for you. You can't win. The style matchup is terrible and you're not ready. But we're going to allow it because, one, you're not going to get knocked out. Two, we don't think you're going to get embarrassed so it won't really hinder your level of attraction. And we'll also find out what you need to work on from this point forward. And he was right on all points. And that was the genius of Don Chargan.
Because,
But
you see,
as far as the David Benavidez,
oh, there's no chance of
that
that fight
was
happening.
Marcos Maidana. And I'm sorry, Floyd fought him twice. Canelo, no, he's not taking those level of risks at this juncture of his career. So you can't compare the two. Very good
And
point, Coach Joey.
And let me just say that fight with Benavidez would have been, as the fight prolongs, it's the how do I say, the gap between them is only getting closer and closer. For Canelo to fight him now would honestly, although it would just be more dangerous. And at this stage of his career, those aren't the type of fights he wants or even unfortunately needs to take anymore. I know as fans we'd love to see it, but we're not Canelo Alvarez. And at 35 years old, do you really want to go through a grueling training camp and then a grueling fight to fight someone like David Benavidez, who's young, undefeated, and hungry? That's not going to be a fight for where Canelo Alvarez is going to come out of there unscathed. I'm sorry.
Now, if you really wanted to make a statement, boxing fans, diehards, those are the fights. If you really want to see him fight the guys that you want him to fight,
Watch their fights.
those are the pay-per-views that you should steal. Okay, not Benavidez and Morel, a fight that you guys were asking for. Oh, but it's $80. You know what? You guys have spent $80 on so much worse.
When I saw Canelo Berlanga,
go ahead, sir.
When I saw Canelo Berlanga do as well as it did, that's when I'm like, this fight's never going to happen. Because he could do that well.
Yep.
If he could do that well with Berlanga and Jaime Munguia, he doesn't need to fight David Benavidez?
Yep. That's it. That's it, guys. There's no financial incentive for him to take that fight. And that's the bottom line, guys. And so, hey, congratulations, guys. You guys did this. Hey, congratulations. That's all I'm going to say. Your parting shots, my friend. But, Joey, it's always a treat whenever you visit us, man. So thank you, brother. And don't be a stranger, man.
No, likewise. It's always a pleasure having you on our channel too, Joseph. But
God
yeah,
bless
final
you,
words. I hope, although with what has been said recently in the past, like some events getting canceled or quote unquote off, I still have high hopes that this is going to be one of the better years of boxing. We've had about 2 consecutive good years. I hope this continues to be a good, if not great year with everything that's taking place. But only time will tell. We have to support that. So fans, we gotta
Well, I
we
tell
gotta
you
do
what,
our end.
Coach Joey, thank you, brother, for all of your insight, and thank you for the great conversation. I love it whenever you visit the show. It always spawns great discussion. And I tell you what, if Jake Paul gets knocked the F out like I think he will, brother, it's going to prove to be a wonderful year for boxing in 2025, especially if Ryan Garcia delivers the gift that keeps on giving in October.
Yep.
Boy, I just sounded like Casey Kasem right there when I said that, didn't I? I tell you what, guys, on behalf of Coach Joey, on behalf of my nephew, Tony Manzano, I'm Joseph Heron. You've been listening to Warwick Boxing. Have a great evening, everybody.
Rashawn Holdings proudly presents Warwick Radio Chats with ring announcer Joseph Heron.